Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Strife's Sanctum podcast. My name is Citizen Strife, and this week I'm trying to finish up spring anime and talk about summer 2026. Now, that has not happened fully yet, and a lot of shows aren't actually close to finishing. Probably still need a couple more weeks to absolutely finish up, and then there's that intervening time where some shows might need to be dubbed in a couple of weeks, so stuff that I don't get to right away is just gonna wait its turn. But I did get to a few shows, if nothing else, so this one's probably gonna be a long one, which is fine. But as per usual, the idea is I just talk about shows that are anime shows from a certain season, this being spring into the start of summer. And if they're ending, then I just kind of give general thoughts, whether I liked it or not. At the beginning of seasons, I usually just go why I was liking something, or why I didn't like something, or why I've dumped something. And, we go from there. So, spring 2026. Not a whole lot with Ascendance, the Bookworm, though they did get an episode that I did like, which was about Wilfred, who is Rosamund's adopted brother, who's a lot pissy about all the attention that she gets, well deserved and earned, so she thought just to fuck with him and to teach him a lesson, have him try and do her job for a day. And he didn't want to do a damn thing. He eventually wavered, but only after just being a complete noble dick in an environment where if you don't work, you don't eat. If you don't work, nobody eats. But they made it so the other people will eat because he wasn't doing any of the work. And then he had to face facts that he was a complete fuckhead and will have to work at it. So that's where they left it. Let's see what... Oh yeah, we finished Devil May Cry Season 2. It was mainly a big punch-up between Mundus and Argisax. And Mundus won, and then Virgil beat the shit out of Dante and was gonna leave him for dead, but then just poofed him back to the real world and sealed the gate. And I'm thinking they're going to have Virgil and Mundus fight at the beginning of Season 3. So I have liked this, and apologies for mouth clicks. I had some milk before I ate, but who knows, it'll happen. I've heard milk is bad for you when you're voice acting. Oh well, anyway, whatever. I drank water, ish. But Devil May Cry, very good. Virgil's introduction was huge. I like Lady, I like Dante, I like the story that they've given, but man, Season 2 really elevated what I thought was going to be a chintzy, stupid show, which still is. But given where, I had no expectations outside of this is going to be campy bullshit, I was like, I actually like the story they're telling. There's a lot of meat on this, and a lot of it does have to do with Virgil. So as long as he is there, Dante can kind of work around it and have his moments when he's not being a complete dork, because he's gonna be a complete dork. There's no way around it. But, Virgil makes that show work so well. Ramparts of Ice, this season finished up. They'll get to another season in October. So we alternated polar opposites, Ramparts of Ice, doing another season of polar opposites, then we're doing another season of Ramparts of Ice. So this year has basically been defined by those two shows from the same author. I don't like Momika digging her heels in and trying to force her way onto Minato. Where did I miss that name? I was trying to think of Koyun. No, she forces Koyun to think that Minato is after her, which he totally is, but is trying to get Minato's attention forcefully. I mean, it's there, I guess. It's forced drama. It's fine, but I already said I don't really like that because it's way late. And I said that about In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. I think super way late. Don't do love triangles. If you're going to introduce love triangles, introduce it early. Introduce another character early so that the main leads, who you already assume are going to get together anyway, at least have some sort of like lack of chemistry. Because once you've ingrained a chemistry, it's really hard to just have somebody try to break it. It's really dumb. In the opposite vein, we have Miki and Yota. And Yota finally said it, and Miki knew kind of where it was going and sort of rejected him, kind of didn't. Like, they left it weird because it was like the end of the season. So it's like she did sort of reject him, and it was kind of building that way. But all signs point to it just like the drama of the next core is going to be them kind of figuring out their feelings, because there's no real way around it. You're going to have to face it, so you might as well frickin' face it. Let's see. Agents of the Four Seasons. They're still ramping up towards the end. Last episode was about Agent of Autumn getting saved, and the Agent of Summer basically just getting noped until she wasn't, because Agent of Autumn's power is saving someone's life through taking other people's lifespans. At least I think that's how it works. But for all intents and purposes, like, the Agent of Spring died, and then, or not Agents of Spring, she's still in a bombed out building, gonna face off against the big bad bitch lady. They really did a number on like they went back and they showed a lot of the Agents of Spring being subservient and completely like abused, and not even in a subtle way. They went through a lot of trouble in like an episode back from this one where they just completely abused her, and it was not in a nice way. And like, they're making up for lost time, because that was the one thing I had against the show, was that they didn't do anything. And now that they've introduced the final big bad, they're overcompensating. I mean, the show's still amazing, but it does feel like, geez, fucking hell. And it's dark. I mean, the show has been dark, but a lot of these stuff in the last couple of episodes have been really mean-spirited, and they're not shying away from it, which is fair, but it is a bit much. Let's see here. Oh yeah, Demons of the Shadow Realm. Sorry, there's so many shows that I'm trying to get through. Demons of the Shadow Realm. This one is still kind of figuring out like the lay of the land after fighting the long legs and long arms. They've got this new guy who is like a sort of half-brother-ish to Dara, who's like 20 years younger, I guess, because reasons. But, he joins the group because he has a lot of money, because why not? And they're doing a lot of stuff, and I'm hearing a dog barking, and I'm hearing construction. That's lovely. Anyway, so more people are joining this group, and the machinations behind everything is that one of the Kagimori clan guys is like absolutely evil, but he's being bankrolled or talked to by this guy who's totally just some putz. I think it's his uncle, who like has power or doesn't have power. It's just a complete dork, right? So whether this second son guy is evil or not, he is probably evil. Like, he's going to be super evil by basically saying to this other evil person, fuck you, I'm going to kill you someday. So he'll probably do that. That'd be my guess. Kill Blue. It's a weird tangent of an episode where Noren was hypnotized by the guys who fought Ogami in the last episode or two. And the mechanics was, if she wakes up, she will fall in love with the first person she sees. And of course, it was Ogami. And he spends the entire episode staying away from her. Then he can't. Then he goes on a date because it's getting that dude to stop the hypnosis on her. So he does. They're skirting around the issue enough that I don't think anything bad is gonna happen to it. Like, they know where the line is. At least I hope. Because again, that's kind of the weird hook of this show in a terrible way. Is the will they, won't they do it? I think this show has earned enough credit that I know they're probably not going to have them fall for each other or kiss or fall in love or anything like that. It's going to be gross. He's keeping his distance. Ogami is doing the right thing. He's keeping his distance, and he's trying to do it in a comedic way, but in a serious way. Because why would he go after a 14-year-old girl when he's probably 40? It's wrong. So it's like, fuck. And the fact that he thinks of her as a daughter is smart. You keep that boundary there. And it's like, yay, it's good. Just keep it. Everything else about the show is fine. It works. The Needy Girl Overdose. I wish I could say this show is amazing, but it's still fucking weird. And, like, the last episode is them kind of doing a bunch of stuff and a couple of fight scenes, and I don't think the show can do fight scenes at all. And I was almost ready to leave the show. I forget if I talked about this the last episode, but I know that Kachi and Michika were fighting in the school, and Michika was breaking stuff. She was breaking windows. And all through the fight scene, rather than going, I'm going to fucking kill you, you little bitch, or I'd like to see you try, come at me, dialogue, fighting dialogue. It's this weird diatribe of Michika going, like, the same fucking dialogue that's been going on in everything. Like, I'm just a pointless person, and everything in here is just a facade that we do, and because we're socialites, and we try to anger or frustrate the masses so they'll give us money because their hopeless lives. Shit, they're doing that during a fucking fight scene, right? Like, talking about depression and weird societal issues and shit. You're trying to beat someone up with a fucking crowbar. I'm sorry. It's just... I was almost ready to fucking dump that show. And again, I love it for the fact that it's subversive, but my fucking Christ, when you're in a fight scene, be a fucking fight scene. And then the next episode is this big showdown between K-Angel and Karamazov, and they do these weird, like, staging effects and stuff. Like, is it real? Is it fake? Are they fighting? Really? Like, how are you determining? Like, is it a fight? Are you determining who becomes the biggest streamer in the world by killing them? Like, I'm trying to follow it, and I can't really follow it, So, yeah, fight scenes in this show, not really a strong suit. So, moving on. A show that does do fight scenes well, Marriagetoxin. It is mostly finished up, unless they're going to do another episode later. They've pretty much finished the main story arc. They're just going to finish up the season next week, I'm guessing. But for all intents and purposes, Beastmaster taken down because Gedo had a bunch of fucking poison, and he fought them and managed to win and he managed to poison the Beastmaster to the point where he was unable to regenerate things, despite himself hoping that Gedo's blood would nullify all those effects. But nope, poison be damned, and wins out the day. And, Kimie Arashiyama, I finally got it right this time. She saves everyone in the prisons, and they fight off, and she gets released from her bondage, this weird neck thing that's gonna kill people by choking them to death. They do the thing. And then, like, Byako tries to run away with the Beastmaster dude because they're not dead yet, only for the sister, this super hot lady who's surprisingly not one of the prospective partners in the list on Wiki. So, just some person who's the sister shows up, and I don't know if she kills them with the wolf that she owns or just puts them in her mouth, I guess. I don't know, but the wolfie beats the shit out of them and is chomping on them and just left at a cliffhanger. So for all intents and purposes, the fights are done. And they're probably just going to spend another episode going into that. So if anything super amazing happens, I'll talk about it. But, Marriagetoxin has pretty much stayed where everything was going to be. It's my third favorite show of the season, behind Hat Atelier and Agents of Four Seasons. And Witch Hat didn't have any new episodes. That's finished. And Spring is itself finished. So I'm going to keep it up because, again, there might be some stuff left. I know Needy and Demons of the Shadow Realm were not finished. Specifically, Agents of Four Seasons and Marriagetoxin are like maybe one episode away. So yeah, we'll keep up with Spring for a little while. But I want to talk about summer 2026. And the first thing I want to talk about is a show I didn't like, was Black Torch. It's a shonen, and once I knew what the dialogue was, I just said, no, I'm not going to talk about it. They were talking about, I have the power of shinobi, and I'm going to beat you up because you suck, because shinobi powers and shit. I'm like, no. If it's good, it's not my thing, just forget it. What is my thing, which is obvious is going to be my thing, Ghost in the Shell 2026, or The Ghost in the Shell, supposedly, is what its title is. So, obviously, Ghost in the Shell has been a big thing. I recently rewatched Standalone Complex just to get, not because I knew that this episode, I didn't know this is actually going to come out this soon, right? I wasn't keeping up on it. I knew it was releasing. I didn't know it was releasing this specific season. But I rewatched Standalone, I'd say a month ago, 2 months back, because I've mainly just been rewatching things because the summer hours are fucking hard, and it's hard to watch 9 or 10 shows of new stuff and try to do a concurrent show, episode by episode. So I've just been rewatching stuff, and Ghost in the Shell Standalone was one of those things. So I'd forgotten that this was taking this back to the source material. I'd forgotten that this was meant to show what the original Ghost in the Shell concept was before the movies happened. And that's fine and all, and my Discord goes off. God fucking damn it. So it's like anything that can go wrong has gone wrong. I fell at work this week, and I left before I went to work because I fell on blacktop. So I'm in a mood. So it's like dogs, people yelling, construction. It's bullshit. Anyway, I will stop being distracted. I'm going to talk about Ghost in the Shell 2026. It struck me very odd because it is more like fast-paced action than procedural drama and sci-fi stuff. And it doesn't even feel like sci-fi stuff half the time. It just feels like Cowboy Bebop pacing, right? Where it's very loosey-goosey and the stuff makes sense, but it doesn't make sense because it's all dirty and grimy and weird. And I'm not used to Ghost in the Shell being dirty, grimy, and weird. I'm used to it being very super clean. And as you might hear, let's get past it. My God, how loud do you have your fucking motorcycle if I can hear it from inside here? How fucking loud is your motorcycle? Anyway, speaking of motorized stuff, the Fuchikomas exist. All of the major players in Ghost in the Shell exist. And I'm not even going to say that the actors themselves, I like most of the actors, like Suzy Young, who was Lolan in Apothecary Diaries, Chitose in Yakuza, and Fuka in the most recent Persona 3. I got no problem with her being Makoto. I'm just not used to her. I'm not used to Makoto being very rowdy and raunchy, and like Makoto strikes me as a very sexualized person, sure, and revels in it, but you never she's very deadpan, and Ghost in the Shell Standalone is very deadpan, and you have to treat it as such. It is very, I wouldn't say lifeless, but it is very, very, very stiff. And going to this, I was not prepared for Makoto to just basically talking shit to everyone and yelling at people and thinking, well, my life's fucking shit and this is stupid and, you know, whatever. But hey, you suck. Like, she's like Revy, right? Without the homicidal tendencies, mostly. Or maybe like the depressive homicidal. She's more like an action hero who's like, I'll kill people, it's fine. But therein lies the intrigue, right? And Bato, well, Bato is Bato at least. Togusa is played as a rookie, that's fine. Ishikawa is there, Saito is there. I forget if Boma or Pazu are there. I don't know yet because it's only one episode. But Aramaki yelling at things is weird, right? Screaming at people is weird, you know? And again, was that the original? Because that might be the original. And what they did in the 95 movie and subsequent releases after was really, really typecasted in that very droll way. And I really am just used to it. So it's so coded in my brain, I'm not used to what this is going to be. Now, I'm not saying that Science Sorrow is going to do it wrong. I mean, it's Science Sorrow. They did Dondadon. I'm pretty sure they know what they're doing, especially since they don't have to deal with all the crazy fucking bullshit and the most of Dondadon has to deal with. They just have to do action scenes, and they're good at it, you know? So the Ghost in the Shell ephemera done in a different way with a studio that knows what the fuck it's doing. I think I will like it. I just have to stop my brain from constantly comparing it to standalone Complex, because that's what I want to do every goddamn second, you know. But the more I watch it, the more I'll probably be like, yeah, it is its own thing, and I think it will be fun. I don't love it, but it's Ghost in the Shell. I'm always going to have a fondness for it. Second favorite show is Goodbye Lara. Actually, no, Goodbye Lara is probably my favorite. Ghost in the Shell's 2, and then Grow Up Show is 3rd? I mean, they're tied for 2nd and 3rd. I mean, they're all kind of like good enough. I'm not like bowled over by anything yet. Just putting that out there. If it put a number on my ranking, it would be a 7 out of 10, right? So I'm not like completely sold, but like I love it, you know. But Goodbye Lara is The Little Mermaid in anime form. If you watched the movie, or if you watched the 89 or 90 or 91 movie, whenever that was released, it's basically that in 18 minutes. And then the last 2 or 3 minutes or something, she gets transported to modern day? Okay. So yeah, they basically speed read the fairy tale and the movie, and everything you see is done from just anime-fied characters. And I think, like, Lara herself is an interesting character. She's played by Brianna Knickerbocker, who's Yukiko in the new Persona 4. And Donna from Lacrimosa of Donna, you know, Ys 8. That's what I mostly know her from. And she's Miki from Ramparts of Ice. So I trust her. She's a good choice for this kind of character and this, like, wanderlust Ariel type, you know. And, you know, Ursula being played as not Ursula by some hot lady who's a squid lady, I guess. I don't know. And not King Trident, played by a more like 40-ish hot dude, right? As opposed to an older guy king, you know. It's Little Mermaid, right? Until the ending. And that's what makes this interesting, is like, what are you going to do with this mermaid lady and her subjects, friends, family in a modern day setting? That's what I think is going to be the biggest key, is like, how are you going to translate the Little Mermaid stuff that was basically just, you're doing Little Mermaid, cliff notes, boom, 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 get it done. And that would have been fine, doing your own thing in a Little Mermaid setting. That would have been great. But then they chose to go modern day. And I'm not used to that. I'm not used to the isekai of modern day. Like, To Your Eternity, like, made sense because they were going forward in time. Like, okay, but they're transporting this lady 250 years into the future. So you get a fish out of water, literally a fish out of water story, and I'm curious as all hell. I also like Grow Up Show. Grow Up Show is all about the banter. It's this girl voiced by Lizzie Freeman, who is this supposed like amazing circus performer who does not want to be in the circus, and the show makes it very clear. Like every other half of her dialogue is, the circus fucking sucks, I want nothing to do with it, I don't want to be here, this fucking sucks. Or like the first word she gets is like, you shall learn the tricks of the circus, and she goes, I would rather die. You know, and like people trying to be convinced that she knows nothing about the circus, and yet everything just points to her being this amazing wonderkind because her father was part of this other troupe. So this troupe that she joins, sort of, is just like, okay, we're just orphans, we're doing stuff, we're doing whatever, but we're making do. She comes in, is better than they are, is just better, and I mean, she doesn't even assert herself. She doesn't really want to, but it kind of gets coerced into it. And again, the snarkiness between all these characters and all these girls is just lovely. The circus troupe leader and her just keep getting, this main girl is just like, oh, it's so much fun, you know? It's like snark. It's snark, and I love it because that's going to carry this, because it's going to have like slice of life plus sports stuff and gymnastics. You know, we've had stuff like ballerina stuff and dancing and stuff. I don't know too many gymnastics things. I mean, sometimes there have been circus based shows, and this is a circus, you know, but I get the feeling that this is going to be more character driven than it is about the sport of, you know, being in a circus and in the showbiz aspect of it. It's going to be about the girls themselves and the characters, and I think that's going to be the thing that I'm going to want to like about it. And again, the dialogue is great, and I think that is going to set it apart from even Ghost in the Shell and Goodbye Lara. Like, all of them are kind of in that mishmash of, I really like these, and I think they're going to be really good. The difference between like an 8 and a 7 is very... So, you know, and again, I hate putting numbers on everything, but you have to remember I've probably completed about 5... Actually, no. Probably... my list says 350. I've probably completed more than that, but I've probably watched a hell of a lot more than that, and some of it I don't want to rewatch. So you have to remember, especially since I'm doing this as a review, it's hard to quantify vibes sometimes, other than saying, okay, I'm feeling this is a 7. I'm feeling this is a 6. The 6 is the junk food. The 8 is like, okay, no brainer, unless it really, really fucks up, this is really good. 9 is like, oh my fucking god, this is great. And then 10 is that rare, you know, Witch Hat Atelier, Violet Evergarden, you know, Freerin, Apothecary, like, this is fucking amazing, and everybody should fucking watch it. Which is rare. I do not give those out very easily. Because, again, I watch so much fucking stuff. It is hard to stand up. And I do think that these 3 things are going to stand up. And you have to remember that Ascendance of a Bookworm is going to keep going. And then Demons of the Shadow Realm, I think, is going to keep going. Polar Opposites, Season 2. Shiba Yugi, Season 2. Yay! That one fell off, admittedly. But, you know, and then there's still some shows like Jadugar, I think is how they pronounce it. The Witch from A Witch in Mongolia. People have seen that subbed. I have not, because it's not dubbed yet, but people are saying it's anime of the year. So you have Witch Hat Atelier, and now you have this. I'm like, fuck. All right. I have something to look forward to. So that's good. So, and there's tons of other things. And there's some shows that even Crunchyroll or Netflix didn't even want to mention were things. Oh yeah, Sparks of Tomorrow. I mean, that one I would say is junk food so far. I'm not quite... I forgot it's on my list because I didn't even remember to put it on my thing. But Sparks of Tomorrow, before I get to the stuff I dumped, I will say I haven't dumped it yet, like Black Torch. But the visual style is like sort of normal, and then it does these weird visual things where they make people anthropomorphic and like goofy face things, and it doesn't like work with the style and the tone. And then like I like some of the characters, but I don't know if the premise or the period piece aspect of it is going to carry it to something that I'm going to be like bowled over by. So I'm putting it in that junk food, like good enough for now, and I might end up still liking it, but I'm kind of the 4 I've seen, yeah, not so much. But hey, I've done a lot of stuff today. Good for me. I've talked about a lot of things, and I'm going to keep talking about a lot of things in more detail later in life, because next week is going to be Castlevania Lament of Innocence and Curse of Darkness. I could just do one and then save the other, but I think being that they're both PS2, they're the two PS2 Castlevania games, it makes sense. They share DNA. It makes perfect sense that I talk about them both. July 25th, I'm going to post early, and that's because I'm going on vacation that week, so I'm going to have to do it earlier than I normally do. But I'll try to watch what I can watch until the Tuesday, if I can remember to do it either Monday or Tuesday before I leave, because I'm leaving on Wednesday that week. Let's see, August, we got No Guns Life, Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair, which I finished last week. Hokkaido Gals are super adorable, which is weird. And then finishing off the Xenosaga trilogy with Xenosaga 3, also Sprake Zarathustra. And that one is the best one. And it has a lot of good things, even coming back to it years later. And it's probably the reason, like 1 and 3 are the reason I want them to fucking make the fucking trilogy remaster. They're never gonna fucking do it until it's too fucking late and we're probably 50 or 60 or 70. Then they'll fucking release it. Even though frickin' Xenoblade has made them tons of fucking money, you could go back and do Xenosaga, no sweat. But no, they're not going to do it. But I'm going to talk about Xenosaga 3 because it's kind of a reflection on the series as a whole. And I have some good things to say about 3. I have some nasty things to say about 3. But I will say this much, it is never boring. Xenosaga 3 is the best one for a lot of reasons. And it is never boring. But that'll do for this week. And I will see you next time. Citizen Strife, signing off.